Since I don't believe that building or converting a scooter to an electric one by utilizing the rear wheel as a hub motor, I would prefer the mid option, of course, with a belt or something. I decided to explore a third option, which is the variator, and I think it's an interesting idea to explore, especially from the recycling point of view. So I'm gonna try to convert this variator into electric one, and it's gonna be a really simple build. At least that's what I think of. I'm gonna utilize really basic 1 kilowatt motor like this one. And yeah, so what I did is I purchased the scooter for 200 euro. The owner wanted 250, but it couldn't start, so I said it's 200. And yeah, so I took apart the motor. This is the motor side. And what I did first is I started drafting this plate. And since I don't have a 3D scanner, I decided to make it the hard way. So I just took some cardboard, I punched it so I would have a contour, and then I started modeling it in the CAD software. I put a little grid because it had to have several iterations with dimensions. I had problems, and finally I printed one. I printed the final example and I measured it. It seemed to work fine, so I sent it to be laser cut. And yeah, this is the plate. I'm gonna explain a little bit more why is it so in the following episodes, but now what I'm doing is I painted the axle. So this is the rear. This is where the belt goes. The original ratio, transmission ratio of this variator is 1:13. So every 13 times this spins, the wheel spins one time. So I did some math and I drafted some spur gears to be placed in this section inside. So the motor has a bigger one, so that means I'm lowering the ratio on the first axle to eventually have a good torque at the beginning and some decent speed also. So this is an experiment, like this is purely theoretical calculations. I'm not sure it's gonna work, but I'm gonna try. So what I'm waiting for today is I drafted the axle, which I'm gonna show you in the CAD. So this is basically the insides of the modified variator, and you already seen the gears, you already seen the plate. This is the axle, and up to this portion it is basically the copy from the original, but instead of going to the piston, it's shortened, and this is a place for the gear to go up. Originally one bearing goes here, and I just added one more at the bottom. In the between I added the gear, and in theory it should work. There is some room for moving the motor in case I don't align something properly. So yeah, this is basically the idea, and we'll see what happens. And I'm waiting for it to be machined basically. I have the bearings, I have everything ready. So once I receive that, I'm gonna put it in here, put the belt, and essentially mount the motor and test it. See if it works, see if it spins. So yeah, this is my first episode of this conversion, and feel free to leave a comment.